up, guys? So I got my final mock draft. This is the only one I ever posted on here, but I made some offline, and this is my final one. And it does include trades, and it's going to get very interesting. Is this going to be 100% right? No, but the draft never goes as planned. That's in any draft possible. And I've got burned a lot by going with the consensus. So I'm going with something more fun, and maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, maybe I get some of this right. We'll go back and look at it whenever the draft is complete. We'll give more draft reactions. I'm gonna do my big board video. Both those gonna be posted today. And so yeah, let's just get into it. Number one, the Magic going Jabari Smith. I'm not as high on Jabari Smith, but I do agree he's a good play. He's going to be a good player in the league for a long time. He's a great shooter. He plays good defense. I mean, he's worth a top 4, top 3 pick in my opinion, and he's going to be the number 1 pick. That's what it looks like from everything I'm reading. Number 2, Chet Holmgren. The OKC loves Chet. There's also been some Jaden Ivey rumors here. I don't buy them. I think they go Chet. He's my number 1 player in the class. He's a really smart defender. He's a good offensive player. It's just his size. That's his biggest question. If he was 220, 225, no one would be debating whether he's the first overall pick. But he goes number 2 here. Number 3, Paolo Banchero to the Rockets. I think this is almost certain to happen. Banchero is a good offensive player. It's really his questions about his will on defense. And I think it was because Duke was asking him to do a lot, so much on offense. On defense, he kind of didn't give as much effort, but I think you'll be able to get it out of him. I like Banchero a lot. Number 4, I have the San Antonio Spurs trading up for Jaden Ivey. And I love Jaden Ivey. He's one of my favorite players in the class. He reminds me of my favorite player in the league, Ja Morant. He's a good inside scorer. He's probably the most athletic player in the class. He shot the 3 better, and he has some playmaking that's raw right now, but I think it could be very good in the future. And the Spurs need that shooting guard to go next to DeJounte, and I think you have a perfect fit with DeJounte's defense and Jaden Ivey's offense. Oh, I think it's going to be a perfect fit there in San Antonio, and they trade up because the Kings, I don't know if they don't really want to take Jaden Ivey. I don't think Jaden Ivey wants to go there, and so I think that they make this move. What the trade would look like, I'm not completely sure for sure. I know it would go with this 20 pick, the 9th pick, probably Pirtle, maybe one of those young players like Vassell or Primo. I'm not for sure completely, but somewhere around those lines. Pirtle would be a great fit for Sacramento, and we'll get to them soon. Number 5, the Detroit Pistons go Shaedon Sharpe. I really like Shaedon Sharpe. The questions about him are just him. I mean, he didn't play at Kentucky. His parents didn't want him to because of his draft. He didn't want to lower his draft stock. But in these workouts that we're hearing that he's dominating guys like Ty and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird situation. It's really, really odd. But his high school films looks good. He had an ascension to become the number 1 player in his class because guys opted out or reclassified. And so Shaedon Sharpe, I really like Shaedon. I think Pistons get someone next to Cade Cunningham, and Cade Cunningham, Shaedon Sharpe would be dangerous for a long, long time. Number 6, this one might be, I mean, the Ivy pick might be a surprise because of the trade up, but number 4 is about right. Number 6 is Jalen Duren to the Pacers. And in this mock, we'll get to it later, I have him trading Miles Turner. And so I really like Jalen Duren. He's a young player. I am older than Jalen Duren. So he reclassified, I believe, to be 1 year up, and he went to Memphis. And that Memphis team, I'm from Memphis, not really a Memphis fan. I mean, I'm cool. I watch him. I'm not like a diehard Memphis fan, but that team was just a mess. Duren, I think, is going to be a way better pro than he was in college. And he had one of those 2020 games in college, which you just don't see very often. Another trade up. I have number 7. I have the Trailblazers trading for John Collins and trading the 7th pick, getting the 16th back in return. I think there was a couple more picks involved, but basically that's the trade. And the Hawks get Keegan Murray, a very good offensive player. I think he averaged like 22, 23, something like that, to go along Trae Young. I know they're going to try to get Clint Capella dealt. I didn't get him a trade in that for that in this mock to get Onyeka and Kongu, and I think Keegan Murray and Onyeka would come together very well and be a very good duo if that's what they're trying to do. Number 8, I had the Pelicans going Dyson Daniels, a really smart, athletic point guard. He's not the greatest shooter right now, but everything else he does really well. And I think they don't need a great shooter next to CJ McCollum because CJ McCollum is a great shooter. And I think Dyson Daniels fits perfectly. Number 9, the Kings trade all the way down here and select Benedict Mathurin. Now he reminds me a lot of Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, if you're getting Andrew Wiggins in the 9th pick, I mean, and getting more picks and a player like Jacopo, I mean, I don't think you complain. They don't want Jaden Ivey. I think they might be a little higher on a guy like Keegan Murray, but he's off the board here. I think Benedict Mathurin makes a lot of sense. He's a good offensive player. Didn't have great splits, but he's a great offensive player. He was also used a lot. He needs to work on his defense, but he has potential on defense. I really like Benedict. I'm a little lower on Mathurin, but I still like him. Like, just because I'm lower on a guy doesn't mean I don't like him. And you'll see in my big board, my top 30. So next we got Mark Williams at 10. They don't have a great center, so this seemed like an easy pick. Duran's off the board, who's my number 1 center in the class. Mark Williams is a really freaky player. He's big. He's a long wingspan. I think he's going to be a really good pro. I don't know if he'll ever reach the superstar status, but I think he's going to be a really good player for a long time. As well as number 11, the Knicks grabbed Johnny Davis. Now, I'm not quite sure of the fit on this one. Johnny Davis feels like a weird fit next to RJ Barrett and whoever they bring in at point guard, whether that be Malcolm Brogdon, who I think I didn't have them trade for yet in this one. But it's a weird fit. I won't lie to you. It's a weird fit. But Johnny Davis is too good of a player. I think maybe if you can put Johnny at the 2 and RJ at the 3, that could work. RJ's on the shorter side, but I think he could work at the 3. Johnny Davis, a good shooter. Didn't have great splits, but that Wisconsin team wasn't very good. Sorry. And I think a hardworking player that Thibodeau would love, even though he doesn't like starting rookies. Number 12, Ousmane Deng. I like him. He's a high upside guy, and that's what the Thunder is shooting for with Chet Hand with Deng here, Jang. And he's a good shooter. He's good at everything in basketball, pretty much. It's just about developing him, in my opinion. So yeah. 13. This is going to be a real shock. And I think it could be one of the shocks. And I think he'll either go 13 or 14 as like a shock value player. Dalen Terry. I like Dalen Terry. It's a good defender. He reminds me a lot of Herb Jones. And if you're doing a redraft, I think Herb Jones goes higher than 35. Herb was very good as a rookie. And he's got that Herb Jones-esque to him. And I mean, LaMelo's biggest flaw is defense. You put a guy like Dalen Terry next to LaMelo, I think that could help LaMelo more and make his ascension better. 14, Ochai Agbaji, a very good shooter. He's an older player. He's a senior, but he's wanting to help a team like the Cavs that are ready to win. I could also see them moving this pick if a guy like Mark Williams is still on the board. He's not in this mock, but I feel like I could still see them move it. But we're not doing that here. We're going Ochai Agbaji. Yeah. Not the most athletic player, but I think he'll be a good pro. 15. AJ Griffin, the best shooter in the class. Uh, it was really about value here. I mean, I'm not saying he's necessarily the biggest, uh, what's it called, biggest need, but value wise, I think he fits perfectly. I think he is a need. I mean, 3-point shooter is always a need. 16, Jeremy Shohan falls. I mean, I think he could go earlier, way earlier than this. I think he could go way earlier. I think he could go all the way up to 7 to the Trailblazers, but the Trailblazers give him at 16 in that John Collins deal. They get Shohan, they get Sean Collins. Shohan is a Swiss Army knife. I really like Jeremy Shohan. I think he's going to be a really good pro for a long time and just developing an offensive game. He's a young player, so I think you have time for that. So yeah, Shohan at 16. My favorite fit, one of my favorite fits, sorry, Ty Washington. I think he fits perfectly. If the Rockets got Ty and Paolo Banchero, they would be huge winners for me. I think Ty is has his best basketball ahead of him. 18, Tari Eason, a good defender to put alongside Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball if he's healthy. I mean, and obviously Vooch is not a very good defender, but you got Patrick Williams, so Tari Eason and Patrick Williams would be kind of crazy. And maybe Eason comes off the bench. I think he probably would, but I think he's just a very good piece. He looks like he's falling down like the NBA's draft boards, but I don't know. I think he's very good. Nikola Jovic, very, very good player, prospect. He's got a lot of upside to him, and it's really upside with him. 6'10" small forward. I mean, he can shoot the ball. It's just upside with him, and I think Timberwolves really like that. 20, Kings get it in that IVEY trade. They take Malachi Branham, a very good office player. Just got to develop more of a defensive role and got to develop more consistency. 21, Jalen Williams. I think one of the bigger needs for the Nuggets is shooting guard, and you get an older player that's trying to help you win now with Jamal Murray coming back, Michael Porter Jr. hopefully coming back. They're going to be ready to win now. I think Jalen Williams fits the timeline. I think it's a perfect fit. Bryce McGowens to the Grizzlies. One of my favorite players in the class. I think he's getting so overlooked, and I'm so glad he fell to my Grizzlies. I think he's a top 15 player. He just was on a terrible team, first off, and his shooting splits weren't great, but he was trying to do everything. So McGowan's my guy. I love him. I think he's going to be a really good pro. I think he's going to be the guy that we look back on and wonder why didn't he get taken earlier. Kenny Chandler gets traded up for by the Miami Heat with the Sixers. And I mean, Kenny Chandler's from where I'm from, so I'm a big Kenny Chandler guy. I would love for Memphis to grab him if they could, but Kenny Chandler, he's just small. That's really all it comes down to is he's small. He's a good player. He's a good shooter. He's a good playmaker. He's got a good inside. He's just small, and those guys don't usually work, but I think he's going to be a good, solid. He's going to fill that Jalen Brunson type role where he's a good either solid starter or he's a really good bench player. So, yeah. Jane Hardy, 24, this is all upside. Didn't play well in the Ignite, but he was the number 5 player in the last year's recruiting class. So, I mean, he's got a really good offensive game. He's just got to develop, and he's got to be a better passer. 25, EJ Liddell to the Spurs. I mean, I think he just fits the Spurs just all in general. I think Liddell he's going to be a good player for a long time. He's just going to be one of those solid players that comes off the bench and gives you some buckets. 26, Kendall Brown. He's more of an upside pick. I think he does a lot of things really well. I don't think he does anything particularly great, but I mean, I think Kendall Brown would be an incredible value for 26 for the Rockets. 27, Jake LaRavia. I don't know how you say his name. Good shooter. He'll provide a bench role for the Sixers who are trying to still compete. 28, Jalen Williams, a bigger riser in the draft, and I didn't have him going in my first round the last couple of times, but I have him here. No, he's not really undersized for center. I take that back, but he is. I don't know. He just plays with a lot of heart, and I feel like that would be something the Warriors would want. 29, Trevor Keels. I haven't seen him go in many first rounds, but I think he has his best basketball in front of him. He didn't play very good at Duke this year, but I think his best basketball is in front of him. And I think with a team like Memphis, who's good at developing young talent, I think that'd fit. And 30, Andrew Nimhard. Like I said, another older player that's trying to help you, and now he could play a great backup point guard role. And I think it makes sense. I think Andrew Nimhard finds his way in the first round. And I think if the Nuggets stay here at 30, I think they take him. That's going to be it for my final mock draft. I know it's kind of crazy. I know it's kind of wild looking at some of these, like Ivey at 4, Duran at 6, Murray at 7, Mathurin at 9. I think it's kind of wild, but I think it's fun. I think a lot of this makes sense, and I'm interested to see what you guys think. So that's gonna be it for me. Keep staying tuned for draft coverage. I'm gonna have a video after the drafts with the reactions, favorite picks, not favorite picks, everything. I'm gonna try to get all that out for you as soon as possible, but you just gotta work with me. I'm the only one working on this NBA draft stuff because the other guy that does stuff like this, he's on vacation. So y'all work with me. I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all later.